Hey, Little Lolo coming back down to earth here, and YouTube is one of the biggest websites to ever exist on the internet and has brought entertainment for billions of people around the world. There has been countless of creators on this website that have reached heights that nobody thought was possible and have built stable careers on this platform by just making YouTube videos. But there are some creators who have generated massive success on this platform and will do or have done anything to just get a little taste of that spotlight. As I continue to say, clout is a disease, and people will go down routes that are just engulfed in immorality and controversy. Whether that be faking your girlfriend's death for views, faking your entire family's happiness for views, faking an entire kidnap and murder on video for a prank, and many more. Now we are going to go down this YouTuber pipeline to talk about some creators who have been beyond controversial on YouTube. And the first on the list is Ruby Franke. Now for those of you who do not know the story, stay tuned, because this one takes a turn for the worst. So Ruby Franke and her husband Kevin start the 8-passenger family vlog YouTube channel in 2015 along with their 6 children, where they were just doing your typical styled family vlog content. Now at this time, family vlog channels were the wave. Everybody who had a family and had a 2-story house in the suburbs could relate to this type of content. This is where Roman Atwood really shined, the Shay Tards, the LeBron family, and even the controversial Ace family. How these channels were so successful is that some of these YouTubers actually had more kids because of the brand and empire that they were building. And hey, I don't blame them at all. Once you start seeing those dollar bills rolling in, it's like, hey, we gotta start pushing these babies out like Nike shoes in a sweatshop in China. Now the 8-passenger vlog channel, although not as well known as these other channels, have actually amassed over 2 million subscribers from 2015 to 2020. So they actually built themselves a successful following, where each video was centered around just like your everyday family shenanigans, you know, going to school, doing homework, taking them to a store, you know, literally just shit like that. It was really nothing substantial. The vibes I got from some of these videos that I've watched is that they were just a middle-class family with a very strict parenting style. Although I would say that a continuous red flag that I saw throughout some of these videos is that there was a little boy who was really comfortable with laying in the restroom floor with a blanket and a pillow, as though he was conditioned in doing so. Now they would make YouTube videos for the next 5 years before the viewers took notice of the abuse that was going on behind the scenes, because they provided the world with the evidence on camera. Although they never physically assaulted their children in front of the camera, the mother would verbally announce to her subscribers in some of her videos that she would let her children starve in school if they didn't prepare the lunch, to the point she would receive text messages from their teachers, because this apparently was an occurrence that happened often.
Got a text message from Eve's teacher, and she said that Eve did not pack a lunch today, and can I bring a lunch over to the school? This happens quite often when you're raising children, but I responded and just said Eve is responsible for making her lunches in the morning, and she actually told me she did pack a lunch. So the natural outcome is she's just going to need to be hungry.
You know how fucked up that is? She would let her kids starve as some sort of life lesson, as if this was as if they were prehistoric cavemen. You know, these kids, you know, like these kids forgot to pack lunch. Well, you know, they got to survive like the hunter and gatherer days. Like, bro, this guy's in kindergarten. Like, this mentality is an immediate indication that there are some levels of narcissism. And if that wasn't enough, whenever these kids were on punishment, she would take their bed privileges away, forcing them to literally sleep on the bathroom floor, which is just fucking weird. I mean, come on. I feel like the couch would suffice. Literally any other room They would have to sleep under the toilet where people are releasing their feces and bodily fluids. Like, that's fucking Looney Tunes. That's crazy. I mean, if we take a look at this clip where this dude looks fucking depressed, admits that his mother took his bed rights for 7 months. 7 months. That's almost a year.
My bedroom was taken away for 7 months, and then you give it back like a couple of weeks ago.
I don't think our viewers know that.
You've been sleeping on a beanbag.
I've been sleeping on a beanbag since October, and they gave my room back like 2 weeks ago. Oh, I'll give you the reason why I lost my bedroom. I think so. I think this is the reason. At least this is the reason that's been in my head. It's pretty funny, but now that I look back at it, it's pretty depressing.
No, we never told our viewers.
That I will.
If you think it's funny, then that was 7 months ago. Maybe you need longer without a bedroom.
The crazy part about all of this is she's still filming the abuse and continues to say that the audience weren't aware of this irrational disciplinary house rule. And what's even crazier than that is she uploaded the video completely unedited. Like, she had the opportunity to take that segment of the video out without anybody knowing how much of a terrible human being she is, but she decided to upload it for the world to see, as though in her mind she thought it was like justified in some way, like she thought people were going to agree with her disciplinary actions. So because of these clips, among others, there was an online petition asking Child Protective Services to investigate the Franke family. Now, although nothing happened to the parents, the mother, Ruby Franke, decided to call it quits and stopped uploading on the 8-Passenger YouTube channel and joined a podcast called Connections, where she fake cries, attempting to garner sympathy and repair her image, but she could never run away from her true self. I mean, check this clip out of her downplaying eating disorders.
No, she's getting a hit by not eating, and she's getting a hit by lying about it. And you are so easily fooled that you go along with it. So what you need to do is get big and say, no, I know exactly what's going on here. I will not be lied to. And then her world needs to get really, really small.
Anyways, in August 2023, Ruby Franke was finally arrested when one of her kids, who was visibly malnourished with wounds on him, went to a neighbor for help, who then called the police, where they would then be legally obligated to search the home of her podcaster friend, this bitch, to notice another Franke child in similar condition to the boy. This obviously led to the arrest of both Ruby and her friend, where Child Protective Services took the current cast of the 8-Passenger family into custody. And just like that, the movie does in fact end, and there is a happy ending this time, because Ruby Franke did plead guilty, where she was charged with 4 aggravated child abuse charges, where she will be sentenced February 20th, 2024. Fuck family vlog channels, I guess. Anyways, time to change the channel to the next controversial YouTuber. Shane Dawson was one of the biggest YouTubers to ever exist, one of the founding fathers of YouTube, and some might say he is on the Mount Rushmore of YouTubers. If you do not know who he is, he started his career in 2008 when he was only 19, and only a year and a half later garnered 1 million subscribers in 2009 to be one of the first YouTubers to ever reach this accomplishment at the time. He would do a lot of skit videos in his early career with a multitude of stereotypical characters, which were obviously a massive success on his channel. Now, before I go any further, I too was a Shane Dawson fan back in this time frame. Being a little naive 12-year-old boy, I remember the video that actually made me fall in love with this content back in the day, and it was one where he was playing a character that hated himself, hated his job, and every part of his mundane life. Every day though, he would encounter this boy where he would just play games and just have a fun time with him. Now, as the video progresses, a ghost similar to that of Kristen's past comes in, resembling the Ebenezer Scrooge story, where she takes him down his journey to see what life would have been without him. The majority of everybody were even more happy that he wasn't around, except for the boy who killed himself because he didn't have a friend. Now, a lot of Shane Dawson's earlier videos, although raunchy and grotesque sometimes, had this hallmark sentiment about them that really tugged at the heartstrings. which is most likely the reason why he became an internet sensation. As Shane Dawson's career progresses, he attempts to stay relevant, following any YouTube trend that was popular at the time, where he would do a lot of music videos, vlog style videos, eating large portions of food. He had a girlfriend at some point. He came out as bisexual, then I think went full on gay, where he finally found a footing with conspiracy videos. Now, these were a hit back in 2016. Not only were they entertaining, but the production and the editing was S tier. And with this type of content, he would soon start to gain traction once again, where he was now back in the spotlight, garnering millions of views on his YouTube channel. I'm telling you, Shane Dawson, from the years of 2016 through 2019, was probably one of the most popular YouTubers to exist at the time. This was before Mr. Beast era. He was probably up there with Jake Paul and Logan Paul and probably David Dobrik. This is where he took a different approach to his content and started approaching vlogging in a much more theatrical way, with drama and flair this time, where he would interview controversial YouTubers like Jake Paul, Jeffree Star, Tana Mongoose, and many more. He would also confront his father, his YouTube hater, and even did ghost hunting videos. Now, once again, what carried these videos was his production and god-tier editing that made the videos have a suspenseful ambience about it. It was like watching True Life on MTV back in the early 2000s. Now, this would all take a turn for the worst in his career in mid to late 2019, where cancel culture was aiming down their sights at anybody who had a controversial past, and Shane Dawson was not exempt from this. Because if we take a moment to rewind, we would be able to see a multitude of reasons Shane Dawson should be canceled over. And no, one of those reasons was not because of his terrible movie that he made in 2014, although it should be.
Give me your dick!
No. A lot of his controversial past revolved around this character that he named Shanae, which was a character that he played that was supposed to be a very stereotypical African American woman from the ghetto.
And then she like, stand me, go away, I don't need you, no! Like real deep, like.
Now, a lot of Shane Dawson's old videos actually don't have a lot of replay value because of how explicit they were. He would also play a very stereotypical black man from the ghetto, which, if I'm going to be honest, was just terrible. It was like watching a white man impersonating a black man, but has never met a single black person in their life, so they're just going based off what they've seen on TV, which I'm sure is exactly what happened with Shane Dawson. To further amplify this issue, he did blackface on multiple occasions, which is something that is just inexcusable. But I do want to emphasize that we live in a different social environment based off the decade and the era that we live in, and a lot of what Shane Dawson did at the time was socially accepted. I mean, if you think about it, we had white chicks. We had a lot of stereotypical racism going on in Hollywood and entertainment media like SNL or Mad TV. Although it wasn't okay, it was something that people had adapted to at the time. And I'm sure Shane Dawson, especially only being 19 at the time, and what it seems to be, at least to me, sheltered in a way, thought it was okay to do. Now, I'm not excusing his behavior, but there are layers to take into account here. But I do think it's possible that Shane Dawson could have been racist, or at least partially. I mean, during his vlog era, he had a very close black friend named Shannon Malcolm, where he seemed to just do a lot of very stereotypical videos with her, like black anime or the ghetto slang challenge. Like, he wasn't able to see her for herself, but just for her race, which is weird as fuck. Like, he was using her for content because she was black.
Now, you know black people don't like heights, right?
Black people don't like heights, they don't like water. Why are we here? By the way, there's children right in front of us, so make sure to say the N-word as many times as you can.
Yeah, them niggas that don't count.
And if you're asking why she allowed this to happen, my assumption is one, she was receiving an opportunity to be in a YouTuber's successful channel, which was an achievement because at this time, YouTube was so successful to the point where they were garnering more views than your average television cable program, right? And two, she herself admitted to not being quote unquote black probably referring to her not being ghetto, which is kind of racist in itself.
I'm just gonna let you guys know, I'm real dark skinned, but I'm not really that black. So
I am kind of black.
you're a little darker skinned on the inside than I am.
So this wasn't the only controversy that Shane Dawson got into. He had so many disturbing and just fucked up clips from his past. It's honestly so bad. It's like revisiting a serial killer's archive. And it's crazy because me, and I'm sure countless of other people too, were just not aware of how bad it was at the time. It's like, I mean, we were so young and naive. It's insane how bad some of these clips are. Like, genuinely, rewatching some of his old videos and clips were like watching mental illness take place in front of our very eyes. Like, I seriously believe, now that I'm doing research on this, that if Shane Dawson didn't become a successful YouTuber, he would have been a serial killer, a predator, or would have been caught fucking animals.
No, my dog's a really needy guy. The things I've done to my poor animals, they will never love me. The terrible things. I used to...
Oh no, I don't know if you want to go there, Shane. What'd you do?
One time, I laid my cat down on her back.
You gonna get arrested for this?
I don't know. No.
Think about it.
I don't think so.
Okay, go ahead.
I didn't penetrate. I laid the cat down on her back, and then I moved her little chicken legs, like, you know, spread open or whatever. And I was like, if I just like hump, but like on her tummy, like that's not weird, like whatever. And then I humped it, and it kept going. I came all over the cat.
No, you did
It was
not.
like my first sexual experience.
Now, I know that he said he was joking and attempted to say like the most controversial, out-of-pocket shit that can be blurted out by a human, but a part of me feels like that is not the case. I think these events really happened just based off the tone of his voice. I do believe he was being truthful, unfortunately. And I think that they've come back to haunt him, because this is not the first time that he has admitted on camera to committing weird sexual acts on animals.
I have never waxed my balls.
You were such a liar.
I haven't.
Okay, no, but that means you ate your dog's pussy.
Okay, it was an accident. So you're like...
Oh my god, you are like the most disgusting person ever. Like, literally.
No, I know. It was an accident, and I was licking her, I was blowing on her stomach or whatever, and then she jumped up and kicked, and then her whole vagina was in my mouth, and Lisa started screaming, and I started screaming. And Courtney was like, you're good at that. And I was like, oh.
Such a liar.
I mean, just hear the tone of voice from his friends and how they reacted to it. They had no doubt in their mind that this was more than just a fabricated story. Trisha Paytas literally did not believe him when he said he was joking. Now, why is that? What did she know behind the scenes at the time that we didn't?
Spit in his mouth.
You are disgusting.
He loves
Do you
it.
do that on camera? Do people know that you do that?
I don't think so. I don't do that. That's gross. It's disgusting. It's abuse.
I mean, it's so sad. They only knew the real you. I mean, I can't.
He has on a multitude of occasions spoke on pedophilia and has somewhat promoted it on video, where he was pretending to jerk off to Willow Smith, gave a penis cookie to a minor for a music video that was centered around him turning a little boy gay, him making rape jokes to minors wearing his merch, and I mean the list to this point is endless. Hell, here's a clip of him even justifying pedophilia.
So it kind of makes sense to me, even though it's horrible and I don't think molesting children is good, it kind of makes sense to me why he actually molests children, and that's kind of how I feel with it. Does anybody agree? It kind of makes sense, right? Like that's how I look at it. It's like, you know, when you were 5 years old and you had a crush on a 5-year-old girl or boy because you guys are both 5, but you look back on it now and you're like, how could I have liked a 5-year-old? It's like that. He likes 5-year-olds because he's 5 mentally.
I think the worst clip of them all is when him and his ex-girlfriend were showing a 12-year-old girl how to perform a masturbation act, where he was asking her if she has ever masturbated and just making a very uncomfortable environment for her and his girlfriend. It was weird. It's like this is how the grooming stage starts. And I really feel that if he never went this direction with his career, something sinister would have happened to him. Shane Dawson, definitely in his early stages of life, developed a mental illness through loneliness and isolation that carried into his adulthood, where he exposed himself and a lot of his demons on camera for the world to see. And in 2019, it followed him, it lingered, it waited for him, and eventually he had to pay those debts. Shane Dawson made a video called Taking Accountability in 2020, where he speaks on behalf of his controversial past. Now, I believe he should be reprimanded for everything he has done. I think that is fair. Now, Shane Dawson returned to making YouTube videos at the end of 2021, where he spends most of his time on his podcast with his brother and his boyfriend, and still maintains a relatively decent audience. Now, do I believe people could change? Yes. But do you feel like Shane Dawson deserves a second chance? Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. That's all from me. I'm off to another dimension. See ya.
Yeah, so I did a lot of things in this video that will probably come back to haunt me. But it's okay, because it's all for comedy, right?